What up? What up? We are here. It is Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast. And we are here after another win. The Warriors are now on a 3-game winning streak, two blowouts in a
Yep.
row on a back to back. They beat the Indiana Pacers pretty handily, just completely shut them down defensively, and Steph went bananas. How we feeling right now? How we feeling?
Considering, yes, I'm a little under the weather, but this game really fed me because we came out with the required energy that was needed and we won wire to wire. We we just kept it
Hmm.
going. And Stephen, like you said, came out in a blaze of glory, hit six threes in a row, basically. Well, he was 6 for 6, not in a row, but still. When he put it up, it was going in.
Hmm.
So it was fantastic. It was really good to see just everybody with the same amount of energy getting out there, working hard on the defensive end because that was going to be key because we know how Indiana can just light up the scoreboard. But our defense was locked in, tons of energy. We were not letting up. And our offense just just came alive, just kept it moving. Of course, courtesy to Stephen Curry. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah. The biggest thing to me obviously was the defense. 109 to Indiana. That's just, amazing. They got to start putting those type of performances together. And the Draymond Wiggins Kaminga front line has been really good defensively. So they got to maintain that. They got to keep doing it. Now, granted, Indiana is a team where like Miles Turner is their five, right? He's not like a bruiser big. He's a stretch big. They don't have like a ton of size that can punish you inside. So we gotta wait to see how they look against some bigger front lines. But they use their length, they use their athleticism, IQ, togetherness, effort on defense, and it sustained them throughout this whole game. Right, like first quarter, Steph was like you said on fire, 6 for 6 from three, hitting shots from 40 feet over double teams and hitting
Yeah.
contested threes and stuff like that. That's just like Steph being brilliant, right? But after that first quarter, the offense was pretty pedestrian, right? It was struggling to score for
Mhm.
stretches. Steph is amazing, amazing. So when he was on the court, they were scoring, but like when he wasn't on the court, they were struggling. So they really had to hang their hat on defense. I think they held the Pacers to like 16 in one of the quarters, 18.
Yeah.
Like legitimately just completely shut them down, getting stops, getting out in transition and scoring. And that's what they got to continue to do, even when they have all of their offensive firepower on 10. They still have to be able to lock teams down because there's going to be moments where Steph isn't hitting 11 threes in the game. There's going to be moments where, as we've seen so far this season, Clay doesn't have it shooting. Wiggins won't have it shooting one night, whatever. They need their defense to be what gives them a chance to win every game. And, stringing together a week, 2, 3 weeks of just legitimate great defense is going to be a good sign that they can do that in high leverage situations.
Yeah. And we've already shot up in the rankings on defense. Aren't we like seventh now?
In
Just with
defense,
that. And I think, listen, don't get me to line. Listen, I know that's your area. I just know just since Draymond's been back, we've climbed up the ladder. We're not the bottom feeders at this point. I would say just in the span that he's been back, our defense has ticked up. So,
okay. I mean, it definitely looks like it. I'll like fact check that right now, but I mean his presence on the defensive end is second to none. I think he's the greatest defender of this generation quite easily, even with Kawhi involved, even with Gobert involved, and all these other guys. I think what Draymond brings from a versatility standpoint is completely unique, and it's like no other player in NBA history who can do what he does defensively, especially in a era where pace and space is the name of the
mm,
game. Like he's so versatile. You need someone who can guard bigs, guard wings, guard guards, communicate, move fast, do all of those things, and he does that better than, like I said, than anybody. So from he's been back since January 15th, and over that span, the Warriors have the fifth best defense in the league.
well, color me not surprised.
Right? They also have the fourth best offense in the league. Somehow they are 6-4 in that span because they have 2 1-point losses, which is very frustrating. But just from a net rating standpoint, from a performance standpoint, obviously 2 blowout wins is going to help your net rating and your offense and defensive rating, you know, shoot up. But they've been a good team since he's been back. Like very clearly, they've been a different team than the rest of the season. Wiggins is now back into form. He's had another,
Yes.
solid game over his last 10 or so games. His efficiency's back up. He's over 50 from the field, around 40 from three, around 15 or so points per game, aggressively going to the basket. Kuminga's obviously taken off into star realm. Hopefully he can sustain that. And, their team just looks a lot different with those three playing the way that they've been playing since Draymond has come
Yes.
back.
Yeah, absolutely. And just touching on Andrew, just his energy, like we actually can tell that he's in the game because there were stretches where it was just like, yeah, he was out there, but did we really feel him? And we didn't. But he's like, he's taking this all in. As soon as Draymond was back, it was just like a switch just flipped on for Andrew and said, yo, wake up inside. And we've seen it. Like he's been more aggressive. Um, Rebound just the game before. He had 10 rebounds, and I was just like, holy smokes, look
Hmm.
at Wiggins rebounding. Yeah, I think he had like 5 today or 4 or something, but still he's out there and he held Halliburton to like 0 points for a good stretch. Like he really
Hmm.
locked him down as well. So his defense is there, and you can see and Wiggins is smiling again. So that's always a good sign. So you can see his confidence is just really high. And we're going to need that
Hmm.
moving forward. So I just hope that he can still maintain this level because we know we're going to need him.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you can start to see the formula, create itself for this team. Every player has their specific role that they have to do, and everybody executing that is going to be what helps them get to where they want to get to. And Wiggins' role is super important, right? You have to be able to shut down the other team's best guy. Like no matter how good they are, whatever the case may be, you have to make them play worse than their average or worse than their best at least. We can't have these games where guys are going for 40 and 30 against us. And I mean, I don't think Halliburton was healthy today, but 5 points. He did have 11 assists, but 5 points on 7 shots in 26 minutes. Didn't really get going. And if Halliburton isn't getting going, then Indiana's offense is completely shut down. And I mean, in today's NBA, point of attack and your back line are the two most important. That's the only way you can have a good defense if you have an elite point of attack and an elite back line. We know Draymond's going to be the elite back line, but we need Wiggins, we need Gary, we need JK when he's deployed into that role to be super disruptive at the point of attack so our defense can kind of hold steady and it won't put more pressure on guys like Steph, like Clay, like Chris Paul when he gets back. We'll talk about that later. But to do more than they have to, right? If you're already locking guys up at the point of attack, other guys can just fall in line and just play solid team defense. They don't got to really do too much.
Yeah, but it was like I said, it was a collective effort tonight. Like you saw,
Hmm.
everyone was really on a string, and they said, "Hey, no, we're going to take this challenge because quiet as it's kept. I mean, Indiana, even though Halliburton wasn't going off, the others out there were to
Hmm.
me, and it was just like, okay, there was a lot of and ones that they were getting, hitting some threes and stuff, and yes, they can hit threes. This team does, but they weren't chumps out there. So it really took quite some effort to play the defense that we were playing to even keep them at 109. So
Hmm.
I just thought, just collectively, they all bought in that no, we are playing defense. Like that's what we are going to do, and everything else will fall into place. So that was good.
Yep. Yep. It's good. I mean, and I guess there's two stories to this game, right? The first one is Steph, obviously, like monster, 42 points, 11 threes. We thought he was going to go for Clay's record. It would have
I
been
think
pretty
he
cool.
wanted to.
Yeah,
I think he was going for it because he,
it
he
looked like
was
he
look he
was.
was right there. He was right there too. I thought he was
Yeah.
gonna do it.
And the Pacers, I mean, they started doubling him 94 feet from the basket. So that wasn't going to happen. But it would have been pretty cool to see him break it on Clay's birthday.
Yeah.
But he settled for 11 threes on number 11's birthday. But the other story was, again, Guy Santos and Lester Quinones coming in, just adding so much energy, so much effort, making all the 50-50 plays and doing and making all those plays. Guy Santos showed a little bit more than he usually has. I mean, he hit 2 threes. Lester was showing some playmaking chops. He had 5 assists, running pick and rolls and hitting guys on the roll, like right on the money. I mean, we knew
that defense.
And the defense, right? From both guys, they're at least giving effort out there on defense. They're crashing the boards hard. Lester filled the stat sheet. He had 5 rebounds and 5 assists. We knew this team was deep, but it's just like the deeper you go into the roster, it's like, dang, like everybody on this team can do something, right? And like we might not have the top end talent like the other teams have, and maybe we do. Like if these guys start playing as good as they've been playing and sustain it, then maybe we do. But we know for sure we have probably the best bench in the league. Like all of our bench players are good, and we just we just removed the one guy who wasn't. RIP to that guy.
Oh,
and we'll get into the trade deadline stuff later, but yeah, RIP to him. But we played the team he got sent to.
But then they waived him, so there's that.
Oof.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, shout out to Guy Santos. Shout out to Guy Santos. 13 points, 8 rebounds. He hit 2 threes, playing defense. Lester Quinones, like I said, 5 rebounds and 5 assists. He was a plus 12. These guys can play.
Yes, they can.
Pods, I mean, continues to fill up the stat sheet. He's like kind of like their current, almost like, I don't really know who to compare him to because he's completely unique as a player, but like he's almost like a GP2 Andre. He's called himself mini Draymond. Like he's kind of like that Swiss Army knife that does everything. Right. 7 assists and 7 rebounds, 2 steals. He did have a streak of like a bunch of assists with no turnovers. Like the last few games. I think he had a few like
I feel like 5 games or something like that.
Something crazy.
Just high assists, 0 turnovers. And then this game happened. But
yeah. I think one of his turnovers was a screen foul, like an offensive foul. But kid's super solid, like way wiser, way beyond his years.
Beyond his, yes.
His jump shot has to catch up a little bit, but he's doing so many of the connector in between things that it doesn't really matter. And he's not asked to score in this team. Like he's asked to fill in and score when he can, right? So I guess in a sense, he is kind of like Draymond, where it's like, yeah, we can get you 8 to 10 points just from you being wide open or like occasionally driving and getting to the lane. But all the other stuff that he does is so vital for this team, which makes you ask the question, like, why is he just not the backup point guard? Like, why are we
still holding on to this $30 million guy? Well, it will be interesting once he's back into the fold, because with the speed that they are playing at, it's going to be like a 180 that drop off in speed, unless Chris has decided, oh, okay, because he's been sitting over there watching. If he's decided, well, I'm gonna just go up at least 2 more miles per hour, and then hopefully, that'll get us going, because Lester is quick, Brandon is quick, and everybody is running.
Right.
And then we look to Chris, who is walking, who is just walking around.
And for me, I mean, I guess they can do it like, if guys are getting the rebound and he's like, ball, like if he's doing that, that is going to kill the momentum. But if he's allowing guys to grab the rebound and push, and then he just kind of fills in afterwards, that can generate a little bit more, better results than him just monopolizing the ball and slowing everything down. Like you're not going to be able to score in transition every single possession. So like there can be times where they push the ball, they don't get anything, and then they give him the ball so he can run the half court offense. But he should not be stalling their transition offense. That's that's been like a huge thing for them, especially considering they've been defending much better. So they've been getting a lot more transition opportunities. Can't kill those. Cannot kill those. But we'll see. I mean, they say he's trending up. He should be back after the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's
I wonder.
what was reported. Yeah.
So they've got at least like maybe 7 or 8 games until then. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah, because don't we have like 4 games before our All-Star or 3? I I think
All-Star,
it's I think it's 4 because we play the Jazz twice, the Suns and the
it is
Clippers, I
4.
think, are in there. So before All-Star break, we've got 4 games, and then we'll see him on the other side of this. But
Mhm.
hopefully GP2, maybe he's back next week.
Yeah, hopefully he's back next week. I mean,
We'll
they say he's
see.
day to day. Maybe he's back on Saturday against Phoenix. That would be pretty cool to
Mm.
see.
That would be
I doubt
good.
he
That
will
would be
play.
nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, because they got guys who can score on the perimeter, so it would be good to put GP2 on somebody. I mean, we'll see what type of minutes he plays because again, Gee and Lester are playing so well that it's hard to just say, "Hey, guys are back now. You're going to just sit." So, I mean, Kerr has even more guys to juggle now in the rotation. um, but yeah, solid win. Like everything about this win was pretty good. Feel good win. Steph, we saw another vintage Steph performance. I mean, I guess we can talk about him for a little bit. He's still that guy. Like as much as people try to bury him, they try to say, yeah, I just don't think the Warriors are going anywhere because Steph just isn't that good anymore. Like even if their team was better, I just don't know. Like I've heard that a lot, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
are we serious right now?
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
it's just the hate. It's just the hate that creeps up that doesn't allow them to see the greatness that is still within
Hmm.
Steph and Curry. So it's just like if you have him, you've got a chance.
Yep.
And they're not willing to concede that yet they would for someone who is much older. But whatever. Um yeah, it's just him coming off of 9 points last night and
Right.
then follow it up with what, 42? It's
42
like,
and
but
30 minutes.
you knew he was gonna go off because it's just like, that's not a typical game for him to score that low.
Hmm.
And it was gonna be Indiana. He was gonna
Yeah.
get you.
And it was one. I mean, yeah, definitely Indiana's defense is going to be the type of defense that allow him to do that. But it was one of those Nick Nurse. Yeah, I guess we can touch on last night's game too. It was one of those Nick Nurse, anybody but Steph type of nights.
Yeah,
And thankfully, we got Warriors performance where like everybody did their
stepped
part.
up.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got an efficient game from pretty much all of the Warriors, other than like Steph getting taken out of the game because of all of the defensive attention he was getting, and then I mean they took some points away from him too. But
Yeah. Mm,
last night's
mm.
game was also another vintage Warriors performance against the 76ers, where J.K. chipped in 18, Wiggins chipped in 21, Clay chipped in 18, and then a bunch of guys on the bench chipped in like 8 or 9 points. That's
Yep.
just what it's going to have to be.
And Curry didn't even have to play the fourth. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at
Which
that.
allowed probably a lot fresher legs to go and really get at it in this game. So look at
Yep.
that. Win-win all the way.
Yep. This is they just got to keep building on this. Like we said, I mean, we saw the net rating. They're like a +9 net rating, which is fourth in the league since Draymond has been back. Their offense is humming. Their defense is humming. They haven't played the absolute best competition. They will see some better competition in the next 4 games. Like we said, Phoenix, Utah twice, and I believe
It's not the Clippers? I thought it was the
the
Clippers.
Clippers.
Maybe I'm bugging. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Phoenix, Utah, Clippers, Utah. Both Utah games are on the road. I think one of them is a makeup game,
Yes.
and one of them is a back-to-back right before the All-Star break. So we'll see. I mean, if they can put together more wins, get at least 3 of those wins, that would be amazing. And then we can really start talking about this team making some serious noise, climbing up in the standings. Obviously, they need a few teams to lose. Like Utah is losing to Phoenix right now. That would be great if they can lose that game. It would be great if the Lakers can lose to the Nuggets tonight. Because they're not that far off. Like
Right.
they can climb up as I think as high as 6, but it would take a great run.
It would
Right?
take, yeah.
It would take a great run.
And this
But
is a good start to that. So
mhm,
we just, like you said, we just got to build on it one game
yeah,
at a time.
exactly. Everybody buy into their roles. JK getting downhill. He's been punishing teams like for like a month at this point, month and a half, just going straight to the basket. Nobody can stop him. When he said nobody can stop him, people kind of laughed. But if it's one on
So
one and he's going
far,
downhill, dudes can't stop him. He's too forceful and graceful as an athlete. Like he's a weird, rare combination of someone who can like be very, like, for lack of a better term, graceful, but also just
right.
like punch it on you or just run through your chest. Like that's
Hmm.
hard to do. Is people usually are either or. And Wiggins playing defense, running in transition, laying it up. Clay had a good game shooting the ball against the Sixers. Hopefully he can build on that and continue to put those games
Right.
together because they need him to be an efficient knockdown shooter and they need his movement shooting and his gravity to help get other guys open. So if he's not the best version of himself, he has to sit. And then that's just one less offensive option you have on the court.
Right.
So hopefully he can get over the illness that he had
Yeah.
tonight. Conveniently on the day of his birthday, they probably were drinking a little bit. Um, so hopefully he can get over that and they can, like I said, continue to build and stack some more wins. But today was the NBA trade deadline, and the Warriors didn't do anything. They didn't do much.
Okay, I was gonna say they did something. Something is better than nothing.
That's
But
true.
again, if another team isn't willing to dance with you, or they're asking for an arm and a leg, and you're just like, for real,
Hmm.
really, then you're not trading. Then we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people get all, panties in a bunch and everything over they're not doing anything. They're never going to do it. It's all this front office sucks, blah, 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 blah. But again, it takes another team to be willing to do business with you. And it's Golden State. Lots of teams are probably butthurt because we have the kind of payroll that we do and we win. So, do they really want to be doing business with us all like that? Some of them no, because they're hating. And then again, if you're going to ask for something ridiculous, we're not, then there's no deal.
Yeah.
But we moved off of Corey, which was good. Opened up, freed some little,
Hmm.
salary space because I think they're going to sign Lester to that
For
roster
sure.
spot.
Yeah, I think they're going to sign Lester as well. I think they save about 11 million in tax
Yep.
with Corey, and they just got a player who wasn't helping them much off of their roster. So
It wasn't.
that was a win, right? They got a second round pick back. I think it might have been the pick that they sent out to shed Wanamaker a few years ago. They just got that pick back, which is funny because Corey and Wanamaker are just kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like if teams are asking for too much, which through the grapevine, there's been people on Twitter saying that there was a package offered to Chicago for Caruso, and I don't know if Drummond was in that deal as well, but it was something along the lines of Moody, Trace, maybe Gary. I think I saw Gary in there in a first round pick for essentially Caruso and maybe something else. And Chicago was like, nah, we good. But we can do it for Kuminga though. And obviously the Warriors are like, come on, really? Kuminga for
Yeah.
Caruso, really? I mean, I personally think that package with Gary and Moses and Trace and a first for Caruso is pretty much an overpay, but
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it's definitely an overpay. But just from the standpoint of Trace isn't getting minutes, Moses isn't getting minutes, and at that point it's just a Gary for Caruso swap. I can't say I would have did it. I can't say I wouldn't have done it, but but yeah, I mean, I'm if they're going to turn that down, I'm not giving you more than that. You're getting it's definitely an overpay for Caruso. Um,
It is.
so
And he's hurt right now. Look, no, let me stop. No,
yeah, I mean,
he's
it
not.
is what it is. Like I'm glad they stayed. They stood pat on that one. Um, I'm curious as to what they did with CP3. Like, did they shop him at all? Did they try to look for any options, or did anybody ask for CP3 is expiring? Who knows? it's just going to be interesting to see when he gets back into the fold. How do they put the rotation together? How do they put the combinations together? Because if Draymond's starting at the 5, who's your backup 5, right? Is it Looney? Now, are you playing Looney with Chris Paul, who's like the worst big on your roster to
Ugh.
play with Chris Paul? Right? Like, I'm sure Chris Paul would rather play with Dario at the 5 or Trace, just so he can run a pick and roll and do his thing in a half court in a way that he can't do with Looney. Does Looney play with Dario at the 4 and 5 in the backup unit? That's a really slow front court. So it's just Kerr is going to have to figure out some stuff. And it would have been much easier to figure out some stuff if they just consolidated their roster and trimmed it down a little bit more. But it is what it is. Maybe they'll look to do something in the offseason. I'm not getting my hopes up because every time I do, they don't do anything. So,
Well, on the buyout, if there's a big that's going to be less than the 12.4 million, then we can get someone. But
maybe.
what big? Because we thought Drummond was going to be out there, but then looks like they're holding on to him. So
I mean, Gallo just got released by the Pistons. So maybe I think they went after Gallo a little bit.
I think that was early on. They
Yeah.
wanted Gallinari, and then he signed with the Celtics, I think. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
the Celtics at that time, and then
Then he
he got
tore his
hurt.
ACL. Yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
they go after him. Again, you add more good players to this team. It's like everybody can't play. So
Yeah, right.
so it's gonna be tough. I don't know if they're looking to add any more people to this team, but whatever. I mean, like they're trending up. So whatever happens, hopefully it adds to them trending upward and turning into one of the better teams in the league. Because I think they have enough talent on the roster to be one of the better teams in the league. It was never a question of talent. It was just a question of consistency,
Yeah.
guys being available, whether it's injury or suspension, just be on the court and available, building that chemistry and that pop and, putting it all together. And I think that's what we've been seeing for like the past, almost month now.
Yeah, and it's gonna have to be we're going to have to play Moses. Like, we gotta play him. Like him like being the like third person coming off of the bench when it's second unit time is just really strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's gonna have to get more runs. So is Trace. Like, we've got to utilize them because again, Draymond can't play the 5 forever. Like, he can't go 48 minutes straight playing the 5. So we've got to start incorporating these guys so they can get a bit more comfortable. I mean, I'm not worried about Moses because he stays ready. He comes in and he's going to do the work. But
Mm-hmm.
Trace still needs to kind of get a whole feel for everything. Like, Pods already has the feel because he's been playing, but
Right.
Trace hasn't been. And so it's just like, hey, we don't want to just throw him in a playoff game and just be like, all right, do it. Like, we've got to start inserting him in some of these lineups so that he can get more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that that's what happens now that the trade deadline has passed and it's like, this is who you got. If you're already reaching to the G leaguers, then these people are on your roster, like they got contracts, so you got to use them.
Yeah.
Her.
I mean, that's true. I mean, you just look at the box score. Obviously, the box score doesn't tell everything, and plus minus and stuff doesn't tell everything. But Trace played 4 minutes, and Looney played 5 minutes tonight. Right? Looney was a -8 in his 5, and Trace was a +4 in his 5. Now Trace was kind of like garbage time at the end of the
Yeah.
game, but you can just see his athleticism pop off the court. I think he had like 2 dunks, or just his
Yeah.
first play was a lob dunk. Second play, he got in transition, ran, got fouled. He had a block. This is all in like a short span. Like, he can do so many things athletically. It's similar to JK, where it's like, okay, the table is being set for them with Steph, with Clay, with Draymond, with these veterans around them that's doing the thinking for them pretty much. Like, and
Yeah.
obviously JK's out there thinking too, and Trace as well. But I'm just saying, like, they're putting them in position to where like, okay, all you got to do is just be an athlete and make a play. And they can do that. And Trace can do that. He can block shots, he can rebound, and he can dunk on people, right? Like these are things that they desperately need from their five. They need someone who can protect the rim without Draymond on the court. And then with those reps, as you saw with Jonathan, thinking the game and doing all those things start to become a lot easier for him. So whether or not he's a little bit slow reading actions now, like maybe in 2-3 games, he won't be as slow. And then as so on and so forth, the closer you get to the playoffs, he'll have a better rhythm. He'll start seeing the patterns on the court, and it'll be a lot easier for him to make those plays instead of making the rookie mistakes. So I think they should lean into their youth. You think they should lean into their youth. We'll see what happens. I don't think we will see what we want to see, but
I mean, they have leaned into it. It's just the other youth. It's not the youth that we thought that they would probably tap into and get into the mix of things. So we'll see. And now with GP2 coming back, it's like, oh my gosh,
another guy.
I mean,
many
but
guys.
we want him back and we need him back. You know, so I'm happy he's going to be back.
Yeah.
But
I thought going into the season, we had the deepest perimeter group in the league. I still think that. I mean, obviously, I think that now. Pods is even better than I thought he was going to be. Like Steph, Clay, Wiggins, GP2, Moses, CP3, Pods. It's just like 7 guys competing for, you know, perimeter minutes. Somebody's going to get left out. Like, somebody's going to get left out. It's unfortunate because literally all of them can play. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
And it's like the tallest one is going to get left out. The tallest one. No less.
Right. The tallest one, like that isn't Wiggins and Clay. Like
Yeah.
Right. Like on the second unit, you're going to have to play with 6 foot CP3, like 6'1" Gary, and like 6'2" Pods as your 1 through 3 off the bench. And I mean, like, they're good players, so it is what it is. Moses just kind of get the short end of the stick, but I would really like to see Moses play more than Chris Paul.
And at least so he can get his shots, like shot making back up. I mean, he made some shots tonight or whatever, but it's just like, give me a bit more rope so that I can, you know, stop putting me with some of these busters out here too, because it was just getting kind of just clunky in there. But then he started playing with Steph in them, and then, you know, it's a different kind of look for him. So but he always
there was a point in the season, he always hustles. There was a point in the season when Wiggins wasn't playing that well and Moody was starting, and he was killing. Like, he was locking people up. He was making all the plays. I mean, like, you look at it from a standpoint of, okay, Chris Paul in a playoff setting is probably going to make better decisions with the ball than the young guys will. Like, he's seen it all. He's been through it, but he physically can't do some things that they can do. So it's like, which would you rather have? The poise and the decision-making of Chris Paul with lower upside in terms of athleticism, size, scoring, all of that type of stuff? Or would you have those things, right? Those things are the more like warrior things. The defense, the athleticism, the length. But it may come with a few mistakes. It may come with guys turning it over. It may come with guys missing Steph on a back cut or something like that. But that's for Kerr to decide which one he leans into. I would personally lean into the warrior stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, from what he's seeing now, he's pretty pleased with how they're looking. And it's just like, how are you going to feel once you say, oh, Chris is back? And then you're like, okay, go out there for the second unit time. He's going to be sitting there probably like, this is just too slow. Like, I can't just sit here and allow this.
Yeah, I hope.
He might really kind of just be like, all right. And probably on the, like, all right, come on. Like, he does, like, I'm going to need you to move some more, Chris.
Right. At least throw it up.
Yeah.
Like, pass it up the court. No more of that, like, Pods calling for the ball and you just don't give him the ball, run up the court. We do not need that at all. But yeah, I mean, it's not much more we can say. Warriors stand pat at the trade deadline. They offload Corey Joseph for a second round pick, saves them tax money, opens up a roster spot for Lester Quinones, who's most likely going to get that spot. Warriors are now on a 3-game winning streak. They have 2 blowout wins in a row. They are getting healthier. Gary should be back very soon. Clay just missed this game. I'm sure he'll be back the next game. Chris Paul will be back after the All-Star break. I mean, I think that's pretty much the synopsis of everything. The Warriors are 6-4 in their last 10 games. I don't think tonight's game was included. Maybe it is, but they have a 121 offensive rating and they have a 112 defensive rating. So both are top 5 in the league in that span. They're looking like a good team, but now they're going to play some better teams. Let's see if it can hold.
Right. And do we think moving forward that we may see Clay not playing back-to-backs? I know this just happened to be a back-to-back and it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Clay. But do we see maybe that could be something that they start to think about, like, you know what? Not playing him on too many back-to-backs, kind of like gauging it, like from the first game, let's see how he's doing. If we feel like the minutes are too high, he sits this back-to-back, the second,
I think it might be. I mean, Kerr did mention it, and Clay is the type of player. I mean, obviously, we know the injury history.
Yeah.
So, like, playing back-to-back nights, I'm sure doesn't feel great on his knees, so he might not have the same lift on his shot, and he's older, and he's had a bunch of injuries. So, as much as the pride that he has weighs into it, I'm sure, it may just make more sense for him to just make sure he can have as much space in between games as possible. And they have enough depth and talent to where they can at least win games in the regular season without him playing on the second night of a back-to-back, especially if Steph is going to shoot like this.
Yeah.
Now if it's 2 good teams in a row, maybe not. But if it's a team kind of struggling a little bit and you're in that back-to-back, I don't think it would hurt much if you just sat Clay for that night. It would help in the long run.
Yeah. And so hopefully we see, still some fresh legs out of him as we take on the Suns at home. So that should be good.
Yeah, they owe the Suns.
They do, man.
I think they've lost to the Suns, 3 times?
Yeah, every time we played them this season.
Yeah.
But we're right there.
Right there, right? Should have beat them on opening night.
Yep.
Should have beat them when Draymond punched Nurk in the face. Game completely flipped after that play happened. So they owe them. And, the Suns have been playing well. Like, they have their guys healthy, and they have been looking like how they were supposed to look when they first put the team together. So that'll be
and they
really,
just picked up Royce. They just
picked up a good player. I think they picked up somebody else too. I think somebody who's not that good. David Roddy. They just picked up David Roddy, who's like, he always plays well against the Warriors when he's on Memphis. So hopefully he doesn't continue that on the Suns. But yeah, this will be a good test. Really good test.
Oh snap! They traded that dude. Wow. Yeah, he was
Memphis
giving us
like
the
trading
business.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got Steven Adams out of there. They got Xavier Tillman. They got him out of there.
Yeah. He went to Boston.
Yeah.
And he's 25. I thought that dude was 32 and somebody's daddy. 25. He's younger than Looney. And he looks like he could be Looney's big brother. Big brother almighty. So yeah, I mean and you probably don't know where that's from, but
come on.
Oh, don't even.
It's a Spike Lee joint. I know that much. I know that much. Okay.
Good job.
Nat already does that to me. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh shit.
That's School Days. See what I'm saying? Come on, like, put some respect. Put some respect. You gotta put that. Put some respect on my name. Right.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We need the Warriors to win more games. Like, keep stacking.
We do.
They're 24-25. Let's see how many games we can get above 500 this season. and try to go for as far as we can take it.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to, Justin.
Same. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for joining us as always. Follow us on all the socials at Golden Spaces Pod. Continue to support us by watching us on YouTube, on the 95, the 7, the game, all of those does. YouTube channel. Subscribe to them so you can know when we are posted. Leave comments, like the posts, tell everybody about us, and we'll try to keep pushing out this content for you guys. Got anything, Kariemah?
No, but just have a great night.
Let's see if we can get
Can
the
we get
heart.
it? Can we get it? Can we
You
get
gotta
it? Can we get it?
turn it up. Turn it up. Yeah.
Turn it up.
Make a point with your
No.
thumbs. Make a point down like that. There it is. There we go. Sorry if you're listening and not watching. But, we're just trying to send
So
love.
that's why you gotta watch. You gotta
That's
watch.
it.
You gotta
That's why you need to
watch.
You gotta watch and listen. But yeah, thank you guys, and we will see you at the next one against Phoenix. Peace.
Adios.